Welcome back, my Holy Roller family, to another episode of O to Behold with Camille Young. Do you all feel my excitement? Yes, I am just so excited. I'm always excited. I'm elated to be with you on today for another episode of O to Behold. Y'all, I got some announcements that'll be coming up really soon. It's some stuff I'm really proud of. It's some things I've been working on. God has just been so amazing. God has just been he's just opened my eyes to so many things just over the last almost a year or so. And I'm just really happy. I'm just, again, I know I overuse the word excited, but I'm just, again, elated, just, overjoyed about some of the things that will be happening in the upcoming weeks and months. So I'll be sharing those things with you as soon as I'm able to release it to you. So that's something, make sure you're watching so you can remain abreast of what's up and coming with O.H.O.L.E and just some things that are happening in my life. So just so excited about it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today, Holy Rollers. Always love you, honey. Love you guys so very much. Thank you for sticking with me. And being supportive week after week, y'all, week after week. Some of y'all watch every week, and some of y'all even comment every week. Y'all, that means so much. So thank you so much for doing that, each of you. Also, new viewers, yes, come on in. I want you all to join the Holy Roller family. Hit that subscribe button. And hit the notification bell so you'll know when a new video is dropped every Thursday. Every Thursday, I drop a new piece of content on the YouTube channel, so be sure to join when you can. Again, be sure to subscribe, like, share, and comment, all right? And if you need any coaching support, reach out to me at ohtobewhole@gmail.com. All right, you guys, let's dive right into today's topic. On today, I'm just going to talk a little bit about preferences and deal breakers, okay? Preferences and deal breakers in a relationship, and understanding kind of the difference between the two. And there is a difference between a preference and a deal breaker. I think a preference is, when you have preferences, there are qualities and attributes in a person that make you more attracted to them, but not necessarily required, okay? These are attributes or qualities that you prefer, okay, or that you like or makes you more attracted to them, but it's not required. So examples of that would be like a person's skin color, maybe, their size or their height or their bow legs. I like bow legs. I like bow legs on men. Okay. I know for a lot of men what a woman's feet look like. Swagger, their career, even a salary. People do have preferences around those things. The hair length, even, it can get really specific when we're talking about preferences. Even people's teeth, all of those things. The shape of their body. Places bigger. Wanting things bigger in some places than others. Their eyes. Hands. It varies from person to person. So those are preferences. Again, understanding that preferences are not things that are required, okay? But these are things that that makes you more attracted to a person. Their height, all of those types of things are preferences. Then when we talk about deal breakers, with deal breakers, these are the non-negotiables. Okay, these are the non-negotiable qualities or attributes that will 100% end a relationship. Okay, 100% end a relationship. So it could be, examples of that could be, they don't practice Christian values. I know for me, I couldn't date a Buddhist. He could be a great guy, but if he is a Buddhist, we don't believe in the same things. So that's something that, someone I couldn't date. And that doesn't mean that they're a bad person or whatever. We don't agree there. That's a deal breaker for me, to not be of the same faith. Uses drugs, smokes cigarettes, gambles, is unemployed without a reasonable explanation. You know, in these days and times, you know, people are losing their jobs, so you may have a reasonable explanation, but you're only unemployed for a period of time. Okay, let's be clear. Let's be very clear on that. All right. You're not habitually unemployed. All right. May have a potty mouth. All right. Now this one is more specific to me. All of these are specific to me, but if you want children or you don't want children, you know, I don't want children, meaning I ain't having any. That's what I mean when I say I don't want children. So if I meet a guy and he wants kids, oh, it's so nice to meet you, but that ain't gonna happen, Captain. All right, bye-bye. I got too old, y'all. But, or if a person doesn't want children, those are deal breakers, okay? The person is controlling or jealous, that's a deal breaker. Lazy, if they're selfish, if they're boring. Honey, if you can't make me laugh or bring some joy or positive energy into the relationship, honey, goodbye. I'm gonna holler, I'm throw them deuces at you. You can't be boring. And for me, you know, I'm a tall woman. I'm about 5'10", 5'11". So if you're short, and nothing against short men, but I'm a woman of stature. Okay, I don't want to date a man that's 5'6". I really don't want to date a man that's 5'10", but I would. But 5'5", 5'6", 5'7", ain't gonna be able to do it. But anyway, those are deal breakers. It ain't all about me, y'all. I'm just, you know, those things. Yeah, I just wanted to share that. But you have to know your deal breakers and know the difference between your preferences versus your deal breakers. And sometimes it can be a little confusing to know the difference between the two, especially if you haven't matured to a point of knowing the difference between a preference and a deal breaker. Okay, because I remember a time, I know this sounds very vain, but I remember a time that I wouldn't date a dude if he wasn't a good dresser. And for me, a good dresser was somebody that I compared to my brothers and how my brothers dress. If they didn't dress like them, honey, I wouldn't date you. You got on some dusty shoes? Nope, I ain't gonna holler. You driving a dusty car? Honey, goodbye. I wouldn't even date you. I wouldn't even give you the time of day. I know this vain is terrible. I've grown since then. I've matured since then. But you know, but at this stage in my life now, I'm able to recognize and know what's most important when it comes to the true qualities, you know, in a person. So knowing the difference between, you know, something that I may prefer versus something that is like a absolute no. Okay. And before you enter into a relationship, you must know your deal breakers. You've got to know your deal breakers. All right. Deal breakers set the parameters or set the boundaries on whether or not you will move forward in a relationship. All right. And you've got to have boundaries. All right. You should have boundaries so you can know whether you need to move forward in that relationship. If you don't have deal breakers, you'll find yourself accepting things in a relationship that will make you unhappy and ultimately miserable. And who wants to be miserable in a relationship? Okay, but you have to know who you are in order to have deal breakers. You have to know those things, you know, before you even enter into the relationship. You have to know what they are. The thing about deal breakers is if you ever compromise them, you will 100% regret it later. Okay, I'm not talking about, you know, small things that may get on your nerves, you know, or all that. I'm talking about deal breakers, all right? Because nobody's going to be perfect. So it's not looking for perfection. I'm talking about those things similar to the things that I named. That's like, no, this, regard, I don't care how nice he seems to be. I don't care how much money he makes. Because he smoke weed, I ain't gonna be able to do it. That's a deal breaker for me. I can't be with somebody who smoke weed because I don't do drugs. All right? So, you know, understanding that you cannot compromise your deal breakers, okay? And don't get me wrong, some deal breakers you can give a brief. Can we say together brief? Brief. You can give a brief opportunity for change. You know, I have dated guys who, one in particular I'll mention, one deal breaker for me is a potty mouth. I just don't like people who use, you know, profane language. That's just so unattractive to me. But sometimes it had been brought to the person's attention that, or they've ever dated anybody who didn't you want them to curse. So I will give a grace period and say, okay, I don't like this. I give you an opportunity to try to change it. And if I see a concerted effort being made to change, then okay, I can deal with that. But if I see that that's not really who you are, and cursing is gonna be a part of your life, that's a deal breaker for me, because you can't come around my nieces and nephews and my family and even me cussing. That just ain't that's not attractive to me. So it really is a deal breaker for me if I see. But again, I do understand that sometimes you do have to give people an opportunity to make adjustments on certain things. Not everything. Some deal breakers, like for me, drugs, I'm not gonna give you an opportunity to get off, because that ain't a part that, I don't want to be a part of a person's life who is addicted to drugs or who regularly uses drugs, recreational or whatever. That's just not attractive, and it stinks. Okay, that stuff stinks so bad. But anyway, for me, I don't even need to give you a brief opportunity. But for me, if it's some cussing, okay, we can possibly work with that if I see you're making, again, an effort, a concerted, purposeful effort to make that change. Okay, all right. And again, that's a very brief grace period. Deal breakers, as I said before, are super duper important, and you've got to have them. Okay, again, if you don't, you will, hear me say, you will end up settling for someone who you will eventually resent and dislike. Point blank, period. All right, that's just the truth. If you compromise that and you start dating this person, it could be 6 months later, especially if they're a nice person, or they got good qualities, but there's that one thing that's like, oh, I wish they didn't have that, or I can't deal with that. If you go ahead and push, past that and date them and start to fall in love with them, you'll end up regretting it, and you're going to make it harder for yourself to be able to step out of that relationship, because it's a deal breaker. It's not going to change for you. If it's a deal breaker, it ain't going to change. And if they're not changing it, and it's a part of their character and who they are, you've got to go and break that thing off. You've got to do that. And again, you may even be angry at yourself because of it, because you didn't do what you knew you should have done on the front end. Okay. Again, know the difference between a preference and a deal breaker. All right. And choose those wisely. Don't allow your immaturity to make something that is a deal breaker into a preference. Okay, don't do that. Don't do that, and don't make a preference a deal breaker. Just because a woman may not have long hair, that shouldn't be a deal breaker. Come on, that should not be a deal breaker. That's a preference. All right, even for me, it would be very, very difficult for me to date a short man, and I pray, God don't have a sense of humor with me on that, because I wouldn't want to do that. But if this man was perfect or something, maybe I would give in to that. That shouldn't necessarily be a deal breaker. Okay? Ooh, child. But, but certain things we should just really keep as preferences. And if the person is a good-hearted person, they treat you right, they do all the right things, you need to reevaluate that deal breaker to see if it's really a deal breaker. All right? See if that's more of a preference more so than a deal breaker. Okay, if he ain't a red bone or she ain't a red bone, that's not a deal breaker. Come on, people, that's not a deal breaker. Okay, so be wise as you make and learn and know the differences between your preferences versus your deal breaker, because it truly could mean the difference between your peace of mind and happiness and misery. All right, knowing the difference between your deal breakers and your preferences could mean the difference between peace of mind, happiness, or just being miserable. And nobody wants to be miserable in life. That's not an option for me, period. All right. So just wanted to drop this little something to you, this little word to you on today, because people get those things confused, and it's really important to know the difference. between those things. So I hope this was helpful to you. Thank you for joining me. I love you guys. Be sure to subscribe, like, share, comment, and reach out to me. Reach out to me at ohtobewhole@gmail.com. If there's a topic that you would want me to discuss, email me or put it in the comments, because I do check my comments. Put that stuff there, and maybe I can, it's something that I can cover or elaborate on a different topic that I may have covered before. So yes, I'm definitely open to that. All right, so thank you so much for joining me for another episode of O to Be Whole with Camille Young. And y'all, until next time, God bless.